What if I have the image of this product and I want to turn this into a full-fledged video commercial, but I don't want to create separate images, then create prompts for them, then animate all of them and put them together in a video editing software. Instead, I just want to write a single prompt and get an output which looks something like this.
When everything goes wrong, when you've got nothing left in the tank, that's when it counts. Power fuel for those who go on when the tank is empty. Especially when it's empty.
Here's another example. What if I have an image of this room and I want to create a real estate showcase promo video again, just by writing a single prompt and get an output that looks like this.
Welcome to your perfect mountain escape, where every view feels like peace itself. And after a long day in the mountains, unwind right here. Your private jacuzzi bath awaits.
Alpine Resorts, where warmth meets the whisper of the mountains.
Now, before we start creating the videos, let's talk about these tools because they are relatively new. All three of them, in fact, VEO 3.1 was just released 2 days back, and we have been seeing some very new strengths. For example, in Sora 2, now you can easily create multiple scenes with a single prompt. This enables us to use something called as a time-coded prompt, which is also something I'll be showing you in this video, how you can use ChatGPT to create such a prompt. It's also amazing when it comes to product consistency. In my opinion, we've just never seen any other AI video model which comes close to this, because it's going to keep your product exactly like what you show in the reference image, and the realism is just out of this world. VEO 3.1 may not be as good as following time-coded prompts. However, the 3.1, the latest model, has got some new features which has taken VEO's capability to the next level. Multi-shot feature, which is similar to Sora 2's capability of creating multiple scenes. The much-awaited start and end frame feature, which gives you complete control, the kind of control we've been having with Kling AI up till now. And also there's a new feature called ingredients, and I'll be showing you all three of these via different examples. WAN can do pretty much everything that Sora 2 and VEO 3.1 can do. However, one of its strengths will never be replicated by Google and OpenAI because they are just too censored, which is that WAN 2.5 can create NSFW or uncensored content, because some product videos might require that. However, do note that this is only possible on Higgsfield AI and not on the other all-in-one AI apps. And this is the app that I will recommend you use to access all the three models. Because first of all, VEO 3.1 and WAN 2.5 cannot be accessed for free. Sora 2 can be used for free, but let me tell you why you should not be going in for that option. So when it comes to accessing Sora 2 completely for free, there are three main hurdles. The first is, as of now, it's only available inside the US. That's not such a big problem because you can always use a VPN. But the bigger problem is when you do go over to the website, it will ask you for an invite code. And without it, you simply cannot access Sora 2. Now you can scavenge the internet on Reddit and Discord to get something like this. Even that is not such a big problem, because let's say you do manage to get a code and do get inside the interface. On the free plan, you can only generate videos which have a resolution capped at 480p. So that is not even high definition. And if you're talking about creating professional product videos, that's just not going to cut it, because such a low resolution will even seem pixelated on small devices like the mobile phones. So this is the app that I ultimately recommend. There's no secret that Higgsfield AI is where the party is at currently. Not only can you access all the three models that I talked about all within one platform, but like I mentioned before, if you do want to create NSFW content, then not only for videos via WAN 2.5, but also for images by ByteDance's Seedream 4, you can only generate such content inside Higgsfield and not the other all-in-one AI apps, even though they might be giving you the access to those tools. So this just handles everything. Of course, things come at a price, because this will cost you $29 a month if you do get impressed by VEO 3.1 and Sora 2, which in all likeliness, once I show you the examples, you will. If you are okay with only using WAN 2.5, then you can do so even on the basic $9 per month plan. As always, the links to all the images and the tools that we will be using are in the description. Now let's finally get started. So how things work on Higgsfield is very, very easy. To create these videos, you will go over to the video option. The next thing you have to do is select the correct model. So we're going to start to see the examples with SORA 2 for the energy drink commercial. So we can hit this option that says change. Go over here to SORA 2. And we only get one preset, which is the general preset. So we can select this. And the next thing you do is to upload your reference image. So this time we're going to create an entire commercial for this energy can. So let's upload this image. All right, so once your image is uploaded, the next thing is to write in a prompt. This is where we will be creating a time-coded prompt, which I'll just be showing you in a while from now. But before that, let's just see the other settings. Now, when it comes to the model, you actually have two models here by SORA. One is normal SORA 2, which will give a good video, but may not be the best video. But this will only cost you 29 credits for a 12-second long video. This itself is an advantage. Remember, VEO 3 is 8 seconds. As you're going to learn, WAN 2.5 is 10 seconds. So duration-wise, SORA 2 is already the winner here. And you can select the aspect ratio. On the normal model, you are basically capped at HD resolution, but full HD is only available at SORA 2 Pro. Now, the advantage of SORA 2 is that you can get away with only 29 credits, which is extremely cheap considering that you get 600 credits on the monthly Pro plan. Now, if you do select SORA 2 Pro here, you're going to see everything else remains the same. It's just that we do get this option of selecting full HD here, but you can see that this is extremely costly. Is it worth it? Absolutely it is, because I'm going to be showing you the results from both these when we use the same prompt. Now, talking about the prompt, let's head over to ChatGPT and let's see how to create these time-coded prompts. So again, I went over to ChatGPT, uploaded the image of the product, and I've just written here. So I want to create an AI video commercial, and the next part is all about the content that you want inside the commercial. So I wanted this to be a motivational video. So I want this to be about a woman who's going through a tough time in her life. She sees the can and gets inspired. Then she drinks it and goes out for a run. Now, this is the important part. So create a time-coded prompt for this for 3 to 4 scenes. Add inspiring voiceover lines with a heavy male voice. You can choose any line, but the final tagline should be for those who go on even when the tank is empty, especially when it's empty. This is for SORA 2, which allows 12 seconds, but it often ends the video abruptly, so the prompt should be for 11 seconds. Now, this is something I noticed after a lot of trial and error, especially with SORA 2. It just cuts off the video suddenly, so you need to give it that extra second of buffer, and then it usually solves the problem. And I've just written that you can be creative with everything else. So I'll just leave this for you in the description. Just change things accordingly and you'll be able to get prompts that look like this. So you can see this is what ChatGPT has given to me. Motivational ad for an energy drink. So this is going to be like the title of our prompt. And it's just describe the character, the voice, the tone. And SORA 2 is amazing at following all this. Okay. And you can see here it starts from scene 1. It's exactly mentioned when this should be ending. Now this is not, it will not follow it absolutely 100% perfectly. It might go on for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, but usually on an average, it will follow whatever is written for this entire scene. So you can see even the audio, the mood, everything is mentioned here. And something like this is tougher to achieve with VEO 3 and even with WAN 2.5. But when it comes to different time-coded scenes like this, SORA absolutely is the winner right now, as you're about to see when I show you the output. So once I'm happy with the prompt, I can just copy this. And then here, I can just paste it and we are all set. Now, since I've already done this, let me directly show you the results. First of all, what was the output I got when I selected the normal SORA 2 and not Pro? Let's have a look.
When everything goes wrong, when you've got nothing left in the tank, that's when it counts. Power fuel for those who go on when the tank is empty.
So that was absolutely amazing. And when you consider the fact that it only costed 29 credits, we've just not seen this kind of results for such a cheap price with any other model. However, have a look at the result by SORA 2 Pro.
When everything goes wrong, when you've got nothing left in the tank, that's when it counts. Power fuel for those who go on when the tank is empty, especially when it's empty.
Now, this result is so amazing that we really have to kind of analyze this video and start to see SORA 2's strengths. So if we play this video right now.
When everything goes wrong, when you've got nothing left in the tank.
Now, first of all, just this fact, it is actually following the time-coded prompt to the T, and we've not seen anything like this before because this enables us to make stuff without storyboarding. So we don't have to create multiple images with multiple compositions, then animate them separately. No, everything can now be done with a single prompt. Now just look at this scene and see the consistency. So before she picks up the can, let's compare it to the reference image that we had. That is exactly the same can. There's no size problem, there are no artifacts, nothing at all. Again, this is something we've just not seen before.
You've got nothing left in the tank. That's when it counts. Power fuel.
And now just see, the moment she starts running and it has to become more dramatic, just see how it changes it into slow motion.
Power fuel for those who go on when the tank...
Right here. You could see I did not even ask that in the prompt, but it is intelligent enough to know that the ad is ending and it just does something like that. And even the ending, it was very crucial that it followed the script here because the punchline has to match the music and it did that perfectly.
The tank is empty, especially when it's empty.
You can see that is just absolutely amazing. You're going to be more impressed by these results when you see the results from VEO 3.1 and WAN 2.5. Let's have a look at those. So first of all, let's look at VEO 3.1, and I'm going to be showing you some different variations here because we've got two different features now. One is the frames feature, which just works like how we're used to. You upload the image and it's going to treat that as a starting frame, and then it's going to create the video according to the prompt. However, you're going to see that it doesn't really follow the time-coded prompt as well as Sora 2. And the only change here I made was I had to go over to ChatGPT. Because the time restriction is 8 seconds, you have to ask ChatGPT to modify the Sora 2 prompt that we have got and just reduce some scenes and get it down to 8 seconds. So that is something you'll have to just change according to the platform that you are using. But right now under the frames category, I did the same thing, uploaded this particular image, and let's see this result right here. Actually, before I play this, there's another thing. Remember, I was talking about in the earlier slide about multi-shot mode. This is also a new feature within 3.1 VEO. And if I had enabled this, so whenever you want to create multiple scenes like we want to do in this case, then you just switch this on. However, with all these new features, the results were not as good as Sora 2. So just have a look at this.
When everything goes wrong, when you've got nothing left, that's when it counts.
So that just didn't make any sense. The scenes were not really stitched together well, and even the ending it was just abrupt, and overall just did not look professional at all. At this point, what I did was I basically deleted this frame here. I wanted to try the all new ingredients feature, and how this works is you basically upload around 2 to 3 images or multiple images, and it's not going to treat it as a starting frame. In fact, it's just going to treat those elements as something that should be there inside the video. When they come, how they come, that depends on your prompt and of course the VEO 3.1 algorithm. So I did that also with this particular headshot of this woman because I wanted to see if it keeps things consistent even when it comes to a person. And I had again uploaded the second image that I had used was of the can again. And let's see the result here.
When everything goes wrong.
Again, that's just not a full ad. It only had 2 shots. Again, I had the multi-shot feature on here. So it is creating those scenes, but it's just not able to follow the prompt. So it just doesn't do very well with those time-coded prompts. And in my opinion, VEO really has to increase the limit from 8 seconds to something more, because 8 seconds is just too less to create something so dramatic like this. Now let's also have a look at the result by WAN 2.5. Now, one advantage that WAN 2.5 has, especially on Higgsfield, is that when you do select this, not only do you get the general preset, you actually get a lot of different presets like handheld movement, eyes in, and things which Higgsfield was originally famous for. They have been incorporated into this model. There's some other advantages also before I show you the output. The process remains the same. You upload the frame, you write in the time-coded prompt here. It also has 2 models. WAN 2.5 fast, which will just be slightly cheaper, or the usual WAN 2.5. Right now, I'm going to select this because there's one important thing that you can do here. When you select the normal 2.5 model, first of all, you can see the duration is up to 10 seconds. You do get the option of creating these standard definition 480p videos. Now, you might be thinking, why would you use this if it's going to look bad? You can use it to preview the result, because ultimately you will be able to judge if it's following that prompt well or not, because it is only going to cost you 13 credits. So this is a great way to just preview things. And when you're happy with the kind of output it's giving you, that's the time you do go on to something like a 1080p. Do note, however, this doesn't mean that it's exactly going to be like the older video. Sometimes the new result can be totally different, but you'll still get an idea. So when I did use all of these features, let's see the 10-second video that we got out of that same modified prompt. I mean, right here, I don't even need to play the whole video, but this was almost ridiculous. I mean, that didn't look real at all. Just have a look at this. There was no voiceover at all, even though it was mentioned in the prompt. Even when you see the can here, is just not the same can at all. So the consistency just wasn't good. So again, WAN 2.5 can be a bit of hit and miss. And in this case, it was definitely the latter. Now let's look at the second example. For the next example, I had this shot of this room for a resort, and I wanted to create like a real estate promo video for this. And here, VEO 3.1 ultimately outperformed everything else, but we're going to see its results later on after we've seen the other two. So let's start off with SORA 2 first, where for the prompt, I had used a similar strategy to create a time-coded prompt inside ChatGPT. And the basic premise was that a real estate agent is just walking around and showing things and talking about those different elements while the camera shows a zoomed-in version of those elements. So keeping things consistent was very important. And of course, it was also important that the agent looked extremely real. With SORA 2, surprisingly this time, and not in a pleasant way, the results just weren't up to it. So have a look at this video.
Welcome to your perfect alpine retreat, where every morning begins with this breathtaking view. A rustic fireplace to unwind beside after a long day, and a luxurious jacuzzi to melt your stress away. This is
So the lip syncing was really bad. The agent just did not look real. It almost looked like a result out of Pika AI and not OpenAI. The consistency was good. I did observe everything in those close-up shots, and it did keep all the bathtubs, the fireplace, everything consistent. However, this was just not a good result, especially when you compare it to what I got out of WAN 2.5 using the exact same strategy. This is the result from WAN.
Welcome to your perfect alpine retreat, where every morning begins with this breathtaking view. And the Lugagen rocks just away. It's tough.
So just have a look at this again, because I absolutely love the intro. The agent seemed extremely real, so the compositing between the scene and the person was amazing. However, again, it was a case of almost with WAN, because towards the end, if you just pay attention when I play this again, she just lost track of what she was saying, and then the ending sentence was just something that didn't make sense. It also didn't really follow the voiceover in the prompt, but overall it just did look very good. So see this again.
Welcome to your perfect alpine retreat, where every morning begins with this breathtaking view.
So right up to this point, everything was good, but just have a look at what she says after this.
And the Lugagen rocks just away. It's tough.
So again, it'll be a case of trial and error, having to generate it multiple times. But now let's move on to VEO 3.1. Just one important point before I go on to VEO 3.1. When it comes to SORA 2, you have to remember it won't let you use reference images where there is a photorealistic person in the frame. For example, I had used this particular image in order to overcome the issue of that bad-looking agent, and I thought maybe if she's already in the frame, SORA 2 will do a better job. However, it just did not allow me to create the output. It's just against their policy, and that is a huge downside, because that means in your reference images, you can only use inanimate objects, or if there are people, they should not be photorealistic. So this is by VEO 3.1. Again, when I did create this, the multi-shot mode was on. So let's have a look at this.
Welcome to your perfect mountain escape, where every view feels like peace itself. Unwind by the fire.
So you could see those close-ups were fantastic. She looks really real. If you look at the bathtub, it's exactly the same that we had in the original photograph. The only problem here was, again, the 8-second time limit. But I wanted to complete this ad. So another strategy that you can use for this is I just exported one of the frames, the ending frames, for example, when she's standing right here. And then you use this as the starting frame for the next video. And here I just used a very simple prompt where she was just again talking and saying something nice about the bathtub here. And this also gave me another 8 seconds and it came out right on the first go. So you just see this.
And after a long day in the mountains, unwind right here. Your private jacuzzi bath awaits. Alpine.
Yeah, it just ended suddenly. Also, luckily the voice was pretty similar, so I didn't even have to go to something like 11 Labs AI ultimately when I stitched these together. I still wanted one more 8-second video where we could just finish off this ad. So for that, what I did was I finally used if I just go up here in VEO 3, remember now we have starting and end frames. So the ending frame from this video became the starting frame. So I just exported this particular frame. Then I used Nano Banana to create the ending frame, which was where I had uploaded the original shot of the room and I had asked Nano Banana to basically show me a zoomed in version of the view outside from this room through one of the windows. And this was the result I got. And ultimately for the last video, I wanted the camera to pan from the tub to the view outside. So the prompt was very simple, like a cinematic movement from this to this. And I had uploaded both the images here, starting and end frame. So let's just play this video. Of course, there was a voiceover also.
Alpine resorts, where warmth meets the whisper of the mountains.
So one thing I would have liked for it to do was to keep it going, just keep the camera movement going. But here you could see that there was a cut here, right here.
The whisper of the mountains.
But I think overall, it still looked really good for the ending part of the video. Ultimately, I put all these 3 videos together and this was the final result.
Welcome to your perfect mountain escape, where every view feels like peace itself. And after a long day in the mountains, unwind right here. Your private jacuzzi bath awaits.
Alpine resorts, where warmth meets the whisper of the mountains.
I think it's fair to say that just like it has been the case a lot of times in the past, it still feels like a case of almost yet again. None of these tools on their own are capable of doing different types of complex jobs when it comes to creating these professional videos. And often you will find yourself having to make them work together as a team. And therefore, using an all-in-one platform like Higgsfield becomes even more important rather than using these tools on their native platforms where their weaknesses cannot be complemented. Also, in this particular video, I might not have done full justice to VEO 3.1 because it literally came out 2 days back. In fact, on Higgsfield, it was actually only released yesterday. I do plan to create a future video because I do want to test out its start and end frame features. It's a very strong capability and how that goes along with Nano Banana. So that is definitely one for the future. But if I had to pick out one of these tools right now, the one to keep an eye out on, it undoubtedly is Sora 2, simply because we haven't seen an AI video platform being able to produce such complex results out of a single prompt and still keeping things extremely consistent. Its only downside that right now it cannot use images of photorealistic people. It's not down to the algorithm, that's just down to the policies by OpenAI. So maybe in the future, even that weakness will no longer be there. Its strength, however, is that for the first time, we do have a software where most of your real work will actually be done outside the video generation platform, in this case, inside ChatGPT. In case this video helped you out, do give it a like, and for more AI tutorials like this, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time.